order. We have with us on the select board, Selectman Martin Mitzoff, Bob Kilmer, and Renee Wood. We have Town Administrator Rhonda Lombard. We have her assistant, Jill Hughes. And Jill's got everybody's names, so let's go ahead and get started. Our first order of business tonight is board reorganization. We do this every year after an election. Are there any nominations for chair?
This is Martin. I'd like to nominate Renee Wood for chair.
Second.
Nobody wants to be chair?
We want you to be chair.
You do such a fine job.
Well, I enjoy this very much. So with gratitude and humility, accept this nomination. So let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. So thank you very much. Approval of minutes. Who wants to tackle this motion?
I'm ready to, Bob, if you're not.
Well, I can do it, Mark, but you do such a fine job. We just let you roll with
We'll
it.
have something for you to do later on, Bob, okay?
Okay,
Right.
sure.
So this is Martin Mitzoff. I move that we approve the select board meeting minutes starting with April the 5th, 2021, regular meeting, April the 8th, working meeting, April the 8th, executive session, April 14th, meeting with the Finance Committee, April 14th, working meeting with the Planning Board, April 16th, working meeting, April 16th, executive session, April 20th, regular meeting, April 26th, working meeting, April 26th, executive session, April 26th, working meeting, public hearing, April 28th, meeting with the Finance Committee, and May the 6th, regular meeting, as amended.
Thank you, Martin. Is there
Second.
a second? Thank you, Bob. Any comments, discussion? Let's do roll call and vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. I should have let people know that CTSC is recording this meeting. And if you wish to record the meeting, you may do so after informing the chair, and also to express our appreciation for all of you being on this meeting tonight. Our next item of discussion, possible action, is reopening the swap shop at the transfer station. Rhonda, would you like to start the discussion for us?
Sure. So we've had many requests to get the swap shop open again at the transfer station, including from the employees. And so it's been closed for over a year now, and it would be my recommendation that the board consider reopening that so that people can put their stuff in there or take things either way.
Do you have a date that you would recommend this for, Rhonda?
I would suggest June 1st.
Sounds good to me.
Martin, your comments?
If Bob just said a motion, I will second the motion.
I'll make a motion to open the swap shop on June 1st.
Okay, great. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, I know the governor just changed the guidelines today on kind of coming into compliance with the CDC. We just got that information this afternoon. We're going to have to decide, maybe we could let this be to Rhonda, how many people are in the swap shop at a time, whether it's one or two. Possibly the Board of Health is going to weigh on this. We're in a period of transition. So that's one thing that I'm just concerned about, is that we know how many people can be in the shop at a time. So we have a motion and a second on Bob's motion to open the swap shop as of June 1st. Any further discussion? All right, let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Thank you, Rhonda, on that. The fourth item is discussion possible action regarding the town administrator's authorization on all grant applications. I think this is slightly at least my intention on asking for this and having this put on the agenda is that frequently we'll have someone who wants to look at pursuing a grant, and we've already done a motion that allows the chair or the town administrator, whatever is required after the board has agreed to a grant, to go ahead and sign it, so we don't have to come back multiple times for sometimes the multiple issues with paperwork. I think the intention on this one is after the board has agreed for that to just kind of let our town administrator finish that up. Have I got that right, Rhonda?
Yes, Renee, just to authorize submission of grants, just in case we're in between also the meeting schedule and we miss something. How many times have we discussed something, like you said, and then realized that, do we have the authorization to submit the grant or not? So by giving that authorization to the town administrator position, the grant can go ahead and be submitted.
But I think the important thing here is that the select board has to have pre-authorized this grant.
Sure, if that's how you
Correct.
like it. If that's how the board would like it, absolutely.
This is Martin. I would make a motion that we authorize the town administrator to submit all grant applications that have been pre-authorized by the select board going forward.
I'll second that.
Rhonda, I'm a little hesitant. Have we got this right? Because I know what we're trying to accomplish. Do we have this right?
You do. So there are times like when we're doing like an MVP or a MassWorks that sometimes you know about it, but maybe your authorization will come, but will it come in time to submit it? I think that was what I was trying to do as well. But if you'd prefer it this way, I think it's absolutely fine.
So kind of what I'm hearing is that if the board looks at, let's just take MassWorks, and we authorize Rhonda to work with, I'm just going to pick a consulting company we use, BSC, to work on, maybe one of two choices for a MassWorks grant. What I'm kind of hearing with this motion, at least what I'm thinking the intent is that if we give our approval as the select board to either of these, it's up to BSC group or the consultant and Rhonda to pick what's going to be the most likely successful grant. And after we have given that initial approval, then it's up to Rhonda to run with it. Is that kind of what you all are hearing?
That's
Bob
what I
and
mean.
Martin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Another example of this is I came to the board recently on these 4 expressions of interest for the one-stop grant. And going through this and talking with them and with Rhonda, it looks like the most practical and possibly the most awardable one is to apply for some long-term heavy equipment and forego the other 3 that we discussed. So this would be another example of once the board has given its approval to look at these and to kind of go forth and find out what's going on, that would then allow Rhonda and whoever else might be working with her, potentially our new grant administrator or me or one of you, the grant is now in motion, and Rhonda would be basically, if there was a choice, picking which one would go forward. Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
Yes, and this is Martin. I just have a follow-up question. Rhonda, are there any situations that Renee and Bob and I haven't discussed that you are alluding to that we might need to modify this in some way?
I don't think so, Martin. I think this way will be fine.
And if there is something that is kind of outside of this purview, I know Rhonda would bring it back to us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on this motion? Okay, so let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Great, thank you, board. So, the announcement of positions for appointment for fiscal year 22. Is
Renee,
there
can
some-
I jump in here just for a minute?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So we have Bill Ty on the line, on the call for appointment of a finance committee member and the board to ratify it, but it's not on the agenda. I'm asking you to take a look at that for tonight. It's my fault. I forgot to add it to the agenda, but we have Bill on the call and he's ready to do that. And could we put it on here and then add it to our next agenda?
Okay, so, yeah, Bill, if you could just please, we'll turn this over to you. If you could just let us know who has resigned, and then what is your appointment recommendation?
Hello. Both Colin Smith and Ken Smith's term has expired, and they have both agreed to be appointed for another term.
All right, is there a motion on what do we do on this one, Rhonda? It's not like we agree to ratify bills. We do this once a year and it always gets me confused.
Right.
We-
So Bill
we-
will make the appointment and then the
Uh-huh.
select board would ratify that appointment.
Is there a motion for ratification of Bill's appointments of two people, Colin Smith and Ken Smith, to the Finance Committee for another 3-year term on both of them, Bill?
Yes.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. And then we'll just put this on our next agenda, which would be sometime in June. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Welcome.
Thank you, Rhonda, for bringing this up.
Yes.
All right, now we have announcement of positions for appointment for fiscal year 22. This is a long list. There's plenty of opportunities for people who are looking to get involved in town governance in one way or another. Is there any select board member who wants to read this, or shall we ask our town administrator to do it?
I'm happy to do it.
Thank you, Martin. Would you please proceed?
Okay, give me a few minutes here till I get to the
Okay.
end. So
Okay.
we have 4 vacancies on the Agricultural Commission, 3-year terms. We have 2 vacancies for the Agricultural Commission for an alternate position. That's a 1-year term. We have 1 vacancy for the Animal Control Officer. That's a 1-year term. We have 1 vacancy for the Animal Inspector. That's a 1-year term. We have 2 vacancies for the Ashley Falls Historic District Commission. We also have 2 vacancies for the Ashley Falls Historic District Commission alternate, which is those are 1-year terms. We have a 1-year vacancy for the BRPC delegate. Sorry, 1 vacancy for 1 year. We have 1 vacancy for the BRPC delegate alternate, also 1 year. We have a vacancy for the position of principal assessor. We have 1 vacancy on the Board of Assessors, 1 vacancy on the Board of Health, 1 vacancy on the Board of Registrars, 1 vacancy for the Building Inspector for a 1-year term, 1 vacancy on the Cemetery Commission, 1 vacancy on the Commission on Disabilities. We have 3 vacancies on the Conservation Commission. For the position of constable, we have 2 vacancies, 1-year positions. For the Council on Aging, we have 3 vacancies. We have 4 vacancies for the Cultural Council. For Electrical Inspector, we have 1 vacancy for 1 year. We have 1 vacancy for 1 year for the Electrical Inspector Assistant. We have 1 vacancy for the Emergency Management Coordinator, a 1-year term. We have 1 vacancy for Fire Chief, a 1-year term. 2 vacancies on the 5-Town Cable Advisory. 1 vacancy for the Gas and Piping Inspector, 1-year term. 1 vacancy for the Gas and Piping Inspector alternate, 1-year term. We have 1 vacancy for the health inspector, a 1-year term. 4 vacancies on the historical commission. 2 vacancies on the housing commission. 2 vacancies for the housing commission alternate, 1-year terms. We have 1 vacancy for the parking clerk, 1-year term. We have 1 vacancy on the planning board for an alternate member. That's a 1-year term. We have 1 vacancy for the plumbing inspector for a 1-year term. 1 vacancy for the plumbing inspector assistant, 1-year term. We have 2 vacancies for full-time police officer. We have 3 vacancies for the position of police officer reserve intermittent. 4 vacancies in the public weigher position for 1-year terms. We have 1 vacancy for the recycling coordinator, 1-year term. 1 vacancy for the sanitation inspector, 1-year term. We have 1 vacancy for the Southern Berkshire District Veterans Service Delegate. That's a 1-year term. We have 1 vacancy for town clerk. 1 vacancy for town council. That's a 1-year term. We have 1 vacancy in the treasurer collector position, 1 3-year term. We have 1 vacancy for the veterans agent, 1-year term. 1 vacancy for the zoning board of appeals. And finally, 1 vacancy for the zoning board, 2 vacancies for the zoning board of appeals alternates, 1-year terms. And that's it.
Thank you, Martin. So, Rhonda, would you please just let people who are currently in those positions know, since they've received a letter, what they should do, and also what anyone who is interested in any of these positions should do?
Anyone who's interested in any one of these positions should contact me by sending an email or a letter by mail, put a letter in the drop box to express their interest in any one of the positions.
And the select board will take up making appointments on the second weekend, our second meeting in June.
Yes.
Okay, so there's time. And I know we've had a lot more citizens involvement this past year, but from this list, you can see how many volunteers our town really depends on. So there's opportunities here. Martin, would you like to make any comments on the importance of this?
Well, as we discussed in our earlier meeting with the school committee, these are vacancies. They are all volunteer positions, and the work of the town can't simply take place without people willing to step up and invest the time. Maybe it's a new subject area for some people, Conservation Commission or Board of Health, new areas. There's a lot to learn, but you've got good colleagues who are experienced and will help with those positions. But we need people to help us run the town and identify areas that need improvement and to work with these existing boards and committees. So any assistance there, any interest, please contact Rhonda.
Bob, how about you?
I just would like to encourage anybody that likes to have a strong community to volunteer and be a part of it.
Okay, thank you.
Renee, may I ask a question quickly? It's Todd McKenzie.
Sure.
I very much would like to get involved as a volunteer. Is it open to non-voting residents or voting only?
Rhonda, would you care to answer that?
It's open to any resident in the town.
Fantastic. I'll be in touch, Rhonda. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the only time that you need to be a voter is for an elected position.
Correct.
We just went through, so yeah. Okay, wonderful. So our next item is action regarding application for firefighter. Rhonda, would you please start us on this?
Sure. So we have an application from a Kristen Wolf to be a probationary firefighter. We also have a sign off from the Vigilant Committee from the fire department. If the board is going to take action tonight, I would ask that it be pending the Corey check and pending recommendation from Chief Ulrich.
Does the board wish to take action?
This is Martin. I'd like to put a motion forward to accept the application of Kristen Wolf as a probationary firefighter, subject to a query check and subject to Chief Ulrich's recommendation.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? I think this would potentially be our first brother-sister team. Okay, I think we've got lots of family members from some families, but I think this would be our first brother-sister team. And I encourage other women to look at this position also. So we have a motion and a second. Let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. Thank you all. We next have a discussion action regarding a curb cut for East Stall Road. We have this information in our packet. Is there anything that we need to have added to this, Rhonda?
I think you missed one, Renee, number 7.
What did I miss?
Is,
I always do this. I'm sorry. I'm trying to watch Zoom and I'm trying to read a piece of paper that's next to me. So before we do the curb cut, let's do discussion possible action regarding disclosure statements from municipal appointment employees. And we have a...
Wait.
No?
Discussion and possible action regarding the treasurer resignation.
I'm sorry, I don't have that updated agenda.
Okay,
So is that the only item that's updated on the agenda?
I believe so.
Okay, so we have an additional item that was on the revised agenda, and that is discussion and possible action regarding a resignation from our treasurer collector. We have that letter of resignation in our packet. Would you like to say anything about this, Rhonda, before we do?
So Alicia has accepted a position in another town. Her last day of work will be June 4. I'd like to thank her for her time in Sheffield. She's done a great job, and I wish her good luck in her new position.
Martin, do you have anything to say on this?
Also appreciate Alicia's service to the town, and a question for the board as well as for Rhonda. Is there a recommendation regarding an acting treasurer collector and who that position would go to?
So in the interim, until the board has time to discuss and decide how they'd like to move forward, it would be my recommendation that as of the 7th of June, that we ask Monique, Alicia's assistant, if she's interested in serving as the interim.
I would make a motion to that effect.
And I would second it.
So let's take up this motion regarding offering the interim position of treasurer collector to Monique as of June 7th. I know the board will have probably a chance to discuss this before, but I appreciate, Martin, you making a transition plan today. Thank you for that. Is there any further discussion on this? Martin?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Bob? You're okay, Bob? Okay, so let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. Are there any board comments on, Bob, do you have any comments on Alicia's service?
Other than, I'm sorry to see her go. She was doing a great job, but, she had a better or a chance to move up, and I wish her the best.
Yes, I agree that. I think Alicia is one of our town's success stories. She came to us 8 years ago in a different position and has done just absolutely a sterling job in the treasurer collector's office. She's accomplished a lot in that job. So would the board, is there a motion to accept her letter of resignation?
So moved.
So, second.
Why don't we give that one to Bob, and Martin will let you second it. Okay.
That's fine.
Bob's not as fast as you are. Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Martin,
Aye.
Bob,
I
Renee, aye. All right, now let's take a look at that curb cut. No, wait a minute. Yes, we're on the curb cut. Rhonda, is there anything else we need to know about this curb cut?
No, nothing other than what's in front of you. It's for Kenny Race on East Stall Road. The highway superintendent and the police chief have signed off on it, and they both agreed.
Board members, is there a motion on this?
am make motion to accept the curb cut as written.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Martin,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Renee, aye. Our next item involves. All right, this one is a discussion possible action regarding the disclosure statement from a municipal employee. Rhonda, do we have more than one here?
We have two.
Yes, we have David Ulrich of the fire department, and we have John Ulrich. And just for public awareness, this is a disclosure by a non-elected municipal employee of a financial interest as determined by the appointing authority. Okay. Both of one is Dave Ulrich is the chief of our fire department, and John Ulrich is one of his deputies, and both of them are disclosing their interest in Pittsfield Communications, I believe is the name of the company.
Correct.
Yeah.
Field Communication Systems, Inc.
And that is a company that the town frequently does business with. And so they have filled out this form as required by the state to notify the Selectboard, which is the appointing authority here, of their particular interest, and basically letting us know that they also do make a statement that it's not so substantial as to be deemed likely to affect, and neither of them do make awards that would involve their company. That is done by the Select Board. What have I missed, Rhonda or Bob or Martin, on this matter?
Rhonda, anything?
There's nothing from me, Martin. Did you have something you wanted to add other than maybe the employees?
Actually, two things. So as part of this disclosure for Chief Ulrich, David Ulrich, he is also recusing himself from approval of any warrants that are served on behalf of the fire department to town for accounts payable purposes, any that would include Pittsfield Communication System invoices for things like radio servicing, etc. So he is recusing himself from that, number one. Number two, with regard to the training stipends that are paid to our volunteer firefighters for Wednesday night, essentially for Wednesday night practices, he is recusing himself from signing off on those on the basis that members of his family are also volunteer firefighters and may receive stipends when they show up for practice. So those are the two essential elements. There is a follow-on with regard to the training stipends that I'd like to discuss, but perhaps we could do that after a motion to approve the disclosures by both David Ulrich and John Ulrich.
Was that a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so you want to discuss that now, Martin?
Sure. So because Chief Ulrich is recusing himself from signing the training stipends, there is a position on the fire department. It's an officer's position as the training coordinator, the person responsible for establishing the training agendas and making sure that our firefighters are trained in accordance with a pretty rigorous schedule. That person is Mark Wasaki. He is a lieutenant on the fire department, and I would like the select board, since we've agreed with or will vote on the two disclosures, if we could appoint Mark officially as the training officer for the fire department to enable him to sign off on the training stipend payment vouchers.
Rhonda, are we good with that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's take the first motion, and then let's have a second motion, Martin, on what you just discussed. Are we good with that? So basically, right now, what we're dealing with is the first motion, which is to accept these non-disclosures by a non-elected municipal employee of financial interest for both David Ulrich and also for John Ulrich. So let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. So now, Martin, would you like to make a motion on Mark?
Yes. So I make a motion to appoint Mark Wasaki for the purposes of training stipends and training activity as the official training officer for the Sheffield Volunteer Fire Department.
And
Second.
Rhonda, do we need to, in our motion, authorize him to sign this?
Well, I think when he approves it, maybe you can just say approves and signs, and that'll cover both. Yes.
Would you amend your motion, Martin?
So amended, approves and signs.
Bob, do you amend your second?
I do. Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on this item? All right, let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Rhonda, is there anything else on this with the fire department, and are we good to move on?
You're fine to move on.
Okay. Do we need to put this motion that Martin just made regarding Mark Wasaki on another agenda, since it potentially was not listed, or do you feel that it's adequately covered under just kind of a follow up from this acceptance of the disclosures?
I will add it to another agenda just to make it official.
Okay, great. Thank you. Our next item is discussion possible action regarding agreement with Sheffield MA1 LLC. This is the solar agreement, I believe, that the voters approved at town meeting on it was just last Monday. Rhonda, do we have anything on this that you want to bring up before we discuss it?
I don't, Renee. You're probably a little bit more familiar. You've worked closely on this, more closely than I have, with Joe and John on getting the agreement put together.
Okay, I think everybody knows that this is over on Paul Nardi's land over on, help me here, Rhonda.
Ewan Street.
Ewan Street. This was started by Joe Shanahan and another company. It was then Con Ed started it, and then it was purchased by the company that bought out the kind of almost defunct solar that was over on Home Road. So the voters approved this at the last town meeting, as they have to, and I think we've all had the contract in front of us. This is the standard contract. We actually cleaned it up a little bit, so it was clearer as to when adjustments to the final payment schedule that Tammy our assessor will do when she has the final inventory that will be given to her after completion of the project, how we can adjust those fees. So I don't know if everybody has had a chance to take a look at this contract, or if there's any questions on it or what, but let's just open it up for discussion. Martin or Bob?
I'm good with it as written.
I just have one question with regard to a reference to one of the parties here, and I'm trying to find it again. And it may just simply be a typographical error. I won't necessarily need to take up time. The agreement is
Okay.
the typical agreement that we execute with solar field operators. So
Yeah, this one's with Navison. I do want to point on section 3. We went round and round on this one. There is a calculation in section 3 where we can change the value of this agreement if the nameplate capacity exceeds the 2.125. That's underlined, and the rate of $10 per kilowatt is underlined because both of these numbers will come in and be subject to Tammy's wherewithal when the project is finished. So, Martin, do you want to approve this subject to correction if you find what you're looking for?
in fact, Renee, I think you just answered my question in the couple of sentences prior to that. I just wanted to make sure that Navison was a named party as part of the signature of the developer.
Yeah, they own this project.
Okay.
Okay, it's changed hands a number of times. Well, it's
Yes.
only changed hands twice, and that project is underway right now.
Yeah.
We'll also
I just didn't know if it was a carryover from another agreement.
no.
Okay. So that
The other thing on the performance bond, we know that we've got that performance bond, which is basically an annual bond. That will be filled in. The dollar amounts will be filled in, and the years will be filled in once this thing is completed. And of course, the town meeting date will be filled in. So some of this, you can't know it. You can't know what it's going to be until they give you the complete inventory. But the structure is good. So is there a motion to approve this agreement? No. Rhonda, it's been approved by town meeting. We have to approve it too?
So town meeting authorized the Board of Selectmen to enter into an agreement. This is
Great.
the board's agreement.
What would we do without you? Thank you. There's just so much going on these days. Thank you for your steadiness. So board members, we do need to approve this. Is there a motion?
Yeah, this is Martin. I'll make a motion to approve the agreement between the town of Sheffield and Sheffield MA1 LLC, subject to input from our assessor with regard to the rates payable for execution by the Selectboard.
Rob, would you like to second that? Or would you like me to?
No, I'll second it. My computer froze for a second. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? And let me just add, Ron, did you have anything else to add?
I do not.
Okay. So let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. Thank you. Our next item is, so let's start with the discussion and action regarding the warrant. This is, and also we'll be discussing the ratification of the special town meeting date. This is a result of the citizens petition that had enough signatures to call a special town meeting. Rhonda, would you just give us the background on this and basically what we're approving tonight on this?
Sure. So we received a citizens petition requesting that there's a limit of 5 outdoor cannabis marijuana establishments. And it's certified with just over 200 signatures, which required the Board of Selectmen to call a special town meeting, which you have done, and they've set the date as June 7th at 6 o'clock at the school. It'll be basically the same as the annual town meeting. The same rules will be in place. We will have the auditorium open, plus we will have the gym for overflow. And we will also have to approve a moderator for that meeting because our moderator is going to be out of town for this meeting.
But we do have a moderator fill-in lined up. Is that correct?
We do.
Okay.
And I believe, and I'm not sure if Felicity was able to complete this today, do we have a moderator for the second room?
It's not confirmed yet.
Okay. So we
Hi,
have,
Felicity. I didn't even know you were on the call. I didn't see your name. I guess you've got an iPhone or a phone number. So nice to have you on the meeting. Did you want to add anything else to this, Felicity? Otherwise, we'll turn it back to Rhonda.
No, I think the only other thing that I would probably add is that there will be another registration deadline for this event. So if we have any residents that are not already registered voters, the deadline to do so will be Monday, May 24th.
So that's next Monday. No, yes,
A week from today.
a week from next Monday. Okay. No, a week from Monday, right?
A week from today.
A week from today. Good. The school has given its permission. CTSB has said that they will broadcast. All right. So, Rhonda, did you want to discuss the warrant at this moment?
so we know that we have to have that one warrant article. We also had some general bylaws that we were looking to get on. The board has gone through our general bylaws and has cleaned them up, added, removed, deleted to bring them up to date. So there's the question of whether you want to put those on or hold off until I think we're going to have a special meeting again in the fall. And then the only other article, there's two other articles. One is the PEG access for community television, which I think we can hold off on that one too, unless you want to put it on. And then the last one would be the request from the beautification committee for the sign in the village green, the funds to pay for that. So I think the board needs to think about, do you want to keep the meeting focused just on the citizens petition, or would you like to add some of the outstanding issues that we have?
We're also I'm not sure as of this moment. We've kind of gotten a guidance, but I'm very confused now with the governor's orders. The clickers are only the voter clickers are only paid for when social distancing is required, and I'm totally confused now with the new governor's orders. The school requires social distancing, so I think we're going to have to do that. But there's a part of me that would really like to not have to rent those clickers and the persons that go with them again. That would probably be easiest, in my view, if we kept this to a minimum. I know the beautification committee, which is a separate committee, it is not a town appointed committee, is anxious to get on with the sign. I don't know that that's going to generate any controversy, but that also can be held off. But what are you, Martin and Bob, thinking?
Well, did we find out if our town crew can move to the bench, or if that's going to be an added expense?
I believe it'll be an added expense, Bob. So if we're going to put this on, it would be my recommendation that we go ahead with the $2,000 to move the bench and install the sign.
So it's up to potentially $5,600, I think, Rhonda?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little uncomfortable with the cost. I'd like to see maybe some effort in maybe fundraising. I'd be willing to kick in some for the fundraiser, but I think $5,600 is getting to be quite expensive just for a welcoming sign. So maybe we could take this back to the committee.
I would agree with Bob.
Okay, I wasn't on the finance, couldn't make the finance meeting where this was discussed. Was that at $3,600, or did that include the bench being moved?
It did not include the bench.
Did not include the bench. Okay, so I'm hearing we're not going to consider this for the upcoming special town meeting. So do we want to do anything else, or we just want to limit this to the one article, and that is it?
I'd like to limit it to the one article. The
Bob,
citizens.
I would agree with that.
okay, so it's the citizens petition. So could we just have a motion on that, and we'll get this done?
So I'll make a motion that we hold a special town meeting June 7th at 6 p.m. regarding a citizens petition for amendments to the marijuana bylaw.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have one amendment, I believe that they're asking for. So that's going to be the focus of the town, a special town meeting. Rhonda, do you have anything else to add before we take a vote?
No.
Okay, so roll call vote unless anybody, Martin or Bob, want to add anything else? Okay, roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. So I think we've really simplified this a lot. Okay. So Rhonda, we'll have the warrant basically probably this week that we can sign.
Yes, it'll be ready tomorrow for your signature.
Okay,
so by
great.
tomorrow
We'll get that-
afternoon.
Great. We'll get that posted and we'll get that out.
Sorry, just a
So
quick question.
sure.
Do we need to make a motion, Rhonda and Renee, tonight with regard to the person acting as moderator, or can we do that at the special town meeting?
The voters will have to do that, Martin, like they did before.
Perfect, thank you.
Felicity will have to start it and then we'll go from there. And
Okay.
hopefully we're going to have to also get a moderator for the gym because I do anticipate this will be a larger attendance. All right. So our next item is action regarding the board meeting schedule for June. Since June 7th would be our first meeting, will now be in a special town meeting. Rhonda, what are your suggestions?
That you hold your regular selectmen's meeting on Tuesday, June 8th.
We good?
Good.
Good with me.
Okay, we don't need a motion on that, do we? That's a scheduling
No.
issue?
Yes.
Okay, well, then we'll just be normally on the third Monday of that month. All right, so our next item is an update on opening of town meetings. Let's have Rhonda start this discussion for us, please.
Wait 1 second, Renee. We have discussion and possible action regarding board and committee meetings.
I'm sorry. Thank you guys for nominating me for chair again. After this, you might not think that. I'm just having trouble keeping up with this agenda. So thank you, Rhonda. So let's do the discussion, possible action regarding board and committee meetings. Rhonda, would you start us on this?
I will. So the select board has determined that all meetings be held virtually. They've also determined that board members may be in the same room if they would like, but that the public is not allowed. And the reason for that is because of the restrictions on how many people may be in attendance in a room. And if too many people came, the meeting would have to be shut down and rescheduled. And that comes up with all kinds of problems with notifying abutters and those types of things. The planning board did use Zoom this past week at the town park, and they had some issues with that. So I think the board, I'm hoping that the board will again discuss the importance of keeping the meetings the way that they are virtually until at least June 1st. And you can talk about that a little more depending on what the restrictions are for people inside. I read the governor's orders, but unfortunately I don't remember whether he was making the change on the size indoors on May 29th as he is with the mask restrictions, or if he's waiting till June 15th to do that. Does anybody remember what he said on gatherings inside?
You know, I just had that, Rhonda, so let me just see if I can find it real quickly. No, I can't. This may be something, go ahead, Martin.
Yeah. So as of May 29th, effectively all the restrictions with regard to in-person meetings, as well as, as well as outside meetings, etc. All of those are removed. It's effective May 29th. Capacity will increase to 100% for all industries everywhere. So
Okay.
it is May 29th. And,
Okay.
and the state of emergency will end on June 15th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's still, it's still, I couldn't remember whether the word, I just saw this evening, right before the meeting, whether the word was suggested or required that those have not been vaccinated wear masks, like if they were to attend a meeting. You've got that in front of you, Martin. Do you see that?
Well, yes, I've seen it, and I've also interpreted some related documentation. It is apparently, and anybody please correct me if I'm incorrect, apparently it's an advisory for those who have not been vaccinated. It is not mandatory to wear face coverings. This is very unnerving for a lot of people, and as we talk about opening up the meetings and so forth, at a minimum, I would like it for board and commission members to continue to be able to attend virtually, because I have no intention of attending public meetings knowing that there could be people that have not been vaccinated that will not take the advisory seriously and therefore not wear face coverings. Just not going to do it.
Okay, Bob, you have some comments?
I'm pretty much fine with in-person going forward. If people haven't gotten vaccinated, that it's on them. They've been advised, they have opportunity to get their shots. If they choose not to and choose not to wear a mask, I feel that my vaccine protects me. So I'm fine with going ahead with the governor's recommendations.
Okay, and Martin, that was May 29th, or was that June 15th? That was May 29th?
May 29th.
It's not something that has to be decided tonight. You will have
Yeah,
one other meeting if you kind of want to mull it over and
Yeah.
think about what you want to do.
that's exactly what I was going to ask. We'll probably have some working meetings between now and May 29th.
Yes.
Okay, so board members, are you okay with just, I'd like to read that governor's directive just a little bit more and see that there was also something more that was alluded to in that governor's update, and I'd like to just kind of wait and see what that looks like. So can we just put this off for a little, just another week or so? I know the planning board's not going to have another meeting before. I don't think you are, Sarah. You're on the call. I don't think you're having another meeting before June. Is that correct?
Oh man, I thought we were muted. We're actually supposed to be having a meeting on the 26th, I thought.
The 26th. Okay.
Yep.
All
But
right.
That would be before the change anyway, Renee.
I
That would be.
thought that,
Oh, yeah. The change is the 29th.
I
So
thought that there was already, the governor had already said that we don't have to wear masks outside.
well, this is a new order. I'll send you a copy of it tonight that
Okay.
just came out. And that it takes effect on May 29th. Your meeting is on May 26th. You know, I'm personally, I'm just a little, whatever, that the planning board is the only board who has not been able to make things work. And I'm sorry for that. But
What do you mean? What do you mean by not make things work?
well, in person doesn't work in the sense that it's not allowed. You can't meet successfully in the meeting room upstairs and conduct a meeting that way on Zoom. You want to meet in person. I'm just sorry that things have not worked out for your board in what you want to do.
Right.
So we will take this matter up before May 29th and see what we need to do. This stuff just came out today and we need to read it a little bit more thoroughly. Okay. So stay tuned. This will affect all of the boards. And it will give them, I think, some options. If they want to continue to be on Zoom, then I personally am not going to be against that. I would like to get the select board back together if we can, but I need to have everyone be on the board in agreement with that. So we're going to take that up, and then we'll let the other boards know in light of this governor's order what's going on.
Renee, very quickly, can I add something?
Sure, please do.
As of today as well, the Mass Municipal Association has evaluated briefly Governor Baker's revised orders and is considering amendments to legislation as it relates to how towns operate, virtually, hybrid, or in person. And I think it would be helpful for us to see where they're weighing in as well as it relates to guidance on meetings.
So it's another COVID-19 mess. Where we're just going to have to work our way through it. Right. But everybody's been very patient, and we all appreciate that. But we're moving as far forward. We've already talked about, and we will talk about opening town meetings right now. We've opened the swap shop as effective June 1st. And let's move into, we're going to postpone this possible action regarding board and committee meetings for just a little bit longer. And let's move on to update on opening of town buildings, okay? So Rhonda, do you have some input on that for us before we start our discussion?
Yes. So most of our employees, or the employees who want to have the vaccine, have all been able to receive it. Now that we're just waiting for their 2-week period after their shot. And so it would be my suggestion that you look at July 1st for opening up the town hall fully. The state of emergency, like Martin said, will be lifted by June 15th. And I think that brings us close enough to July 1st, so that should be our target date for opening up.
How do you envision opening town hall? We just go back to Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday?
Yes.
Board members, any comments?
No, I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it.
Okay, so we'll just put that target date of July 1st. If things, proceed faster, we'll look at this again, but we've got a July 1st. We're going to continue to have the mailbox outside, so if people do not want to come into town hall, they can use the features that have been available for almost a year plus now. Is that correct, Rhonda?
Yes, absolutely. They'll still be available.
Okay. Any other comments, board members, on this topic?
Good.
No.
Okay, board items. Martin?
Nothing for me. Thank you, Renee.
Bob?
Nothing for me.
Okay, I just have one. Besides, I don't know when the high school graduation service is going to be held. I really want to congratulate all of our high school graduates. This year, you've done an outstanding job under, to say the least, interesting circumstances. And I know we all wish you well on your graduation and the life that you have ahead. Whatever that path is going to be, congratulations on your accomplishment. There's one other item that has kind of gotten me a little irritated. I don't get irritated very often. But we have had a number of circumstances over the last month where individual residents have decided to go to other people rather than come to the town administrator or to one of the selectmen. It's always better to probably go to the town administrator on an item. We've had this with some of the marijuana situations where people have gone to our representative, Smithy Pigvitelli, which they're always willing to do. But then, of course, Smitty calls back and wants to know what's going on because he knows this is a very good board. We've also had the situation recently where the Ashley Falls Sidewalk project is now shut down. It has gotten to the point where this matter is now out of the control of the select board and our town administrator. It is out of the control of Region 1 Mass DOT. It has gone to Boston. And this means that there may be a delay of a month or more in getting this project finished. I believe that Rhonda is working with the Ashley Falls Historic District, and hopefully we can resolve some issues there. But if the citizen who really caused the mess on this had just called the town administrator before going elsewhere, we would probably not be in this situation. So I'm just politely asking residents to have some confidence in your Board of Selectmen and your town administrator, and give us the first chance to resolve issues, because it's all going to come back to us otherwise. If you don't get it resolved, then go where you feel you need to do, but please do give us a chance, because frequently this works out much better than it does when the first people to hear about this are Boston. I'm also extremely concerned as to whether this is going to put one or more grants that we currently have in front of Mass DOT for award in jeopardy. So please be aware of the consequences of what can happen when, I'm not trying to discourage you to get from getting your issue resolved, but I just would like to ask you all, if the shoe fits, to come to your town administrator first, or at a second, your Board of Selectmen, one of us, and see if we can't get this resolved. Okay, so that's it for me. And thank you for listening, but we're all trying to do the right thing for this town. Rhonda, do you have any town administrator items?
I just have one. I just want to let everyone know that earlier tonight the board met with the Sheffield members of the school committee, and they appointed Kara Smith to fill Dr. Bruno's seat on the school committee. And that will be until the next election, which I believe will be in 2 years in November.
Okay, great. Let's have it open for public comments. Is there anyone in the public who would like to make a comment on matters that are under the jurisdiction of the Select Board? Bonnie.
Yes, thank you very much. First, a thank you to the Select Board for working with us for a really spirited and great discussion today before we picked Kara. Secondly, I wanted you all to be updated a bit on the Southern Region Planning Board that's dealing with the issue of actions between Southern Berkshire Regional School District and Berkshire Hills. I would encourage anyone who can to possibly join the Zoom discussions that are taking place. You can go to our school district's website and you'll find the agendas. I think it's critical that people be informed of what's going on. I do want you to know that the 4 school committee members from the Southern Berkshire Regional School District, not having spoken to each other at all, on a major vote, all voted no in this larger committee, and we were the only no votes with 1 abstention, our concern being the representation in terms of our district. So I think it's important for people to be well informed. Our school committee will be taking some action related to that, but I appreciate the opportunity to say it here. Third is a plea again. I know the attendance was pretty horrendous at our last town meeting, and I know the Select Board did the best they could to bring it forward in a way that was safe for everyone. It's clear, and Martin, I think you said it perfectly, that there's a good portion of our town that will not feel comfortable indoors given the regulations that exist. I plead with you, as I did before, and I didn't go out to the world, but I plead with you, as I did before, that you consider the options that we have for you to have everybody either being in their cars or meeting outside with safe distancing. I do not think it is good for us at all to continue this pattern, which I think in some ways, I hate to say it, but I've said it disenfranchises particularly the older population in Sheffield. So I hope for this citizens petition meeting that you consider alternatives. And I have spoken with our superintendent prior on this. With our technology and with everything else we can do, we will help to make a safe outdoor space for this meeting to be held. So that's just a plea to the select board, and thank you for the opportunity. And I forgot to say 15 Bow Wow Road, Bonnie Silvers.
Thank you, Bonnie. Other public comment? I'm not seeing any hands raised or not hearing any other voices.
Renee, I have one question. Sally
Sure,
Boyd,
please.
16 Main Street. When we were talking about all the vacancies on town boards right at the beginning of the meeting, is the list posted as one single list with all of the positions visible in one place on the website?
Not yet, but it will be this week.
And Rhonda,
Okay.
are you going to put that under news?
Sure.
Okay, so it will all be posted under news.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? All right, if not, I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. Have a nice evening. And is there a motion for adjournment?
Move.
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Everyone, thank you again and have a nice evening.